This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today is Christian Taylor-Wilkinson, the Chief Executive of Altona Rare Earths. Good morning, Christian. How are you?
Morning, Mark. I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Christian. So last time we spoke, you had released some assay results from your Monte Muambe project, and we're awaiting the full data set from Intertek. Now, the remaining assays have been announced today, and looking at the numbers, it looks like all but 3 of them are grading over that 1.5% for rare earth oxides that you mentioned would make this project very valuable and sufficient for production. So, looking good, is it?
It's looking exceptional, I think. Just one point about the numbers. So these tables we produced this morning in the RNS, they were sort of the best of the selection. There were some holes, obviously, that didn't return any rare earth oxide whatsoever, which I think is fairly typical when you're doing this early stage development. But what we have found is grades in sufficient locations and sufficient quantities that we're going to start doing that, or we have started doing the resource drilling, which will sort of run until the end of this year. But I think it's fair to say that when we bought Monte Muambe last year, we obviously didn't know what it was. There were, some work had been done 10 years previously by a different company looking for a different commodity, and it had thrown up some rare earth. So this is where our geologist, Cedric Simonet, is so excellent. He's got his ear to the ground everywhere, so he knows that this project could turn into something excellent, or this probably isn't worth looking at. And this is the one that he'd been looking at before he actually joined Altona. And I say we took a chance on it, that we're contracted to a certain grade and a certain tonnage, and it's looking to just absolutely smash those numbers. But I think the key thing about today is that rare earths are amazing. Let's say that's what they are. They're using so many everyday items, from mobile phones all the way up to electric vehicles. And in electric vehicles, they're using kilos, 9, 10, 12 kilos. But they're not just using the drivetrain to make the car work. They're using the wing mirrors. They're using the LED displays. They're used to polish the glass of the windscreens. They're used literally all over the car, like maybe 8 or 9 of the rare earths out of the total 17. And the king of these is this neodymium praseodymium, which I know you love saying. So let's call it NdPr. So if you look at the entire 17 rare earths, NdPr together make up about 20% of the volume of all rare earths sold, but they make about 80% of the value of all rare earths sold. So these things are, thousands. Tons over kilos. They're about $140 a kilo. So they are very pricey commodities. And there's already a shortfall in the world. We're already seeing about a shortfall of 3,000 tons a year, and that's going to rise to about 15,000 tons a year by 2030. And you cannot make electric vehicles without it. And all the governments met last year at COP26 and said, we're going to ban internal combustion engines by 2030. That's not going to happen unless there's a new source of NdPr available. And what's interesting now is car manufacturers, especially in Germany, are going directly to mining companies and trying to do direct offtake agreements to buy their supply of these metals. So for Altona to just start its journey now in the sector, it's an absolutely amazing. We've landed on our feet. So, sorry, to go back to Monte Muambe, we didn't know what NdPr quantities there would be, and I think any quantities would have been good. But if you look at sort of average, about 0.3, 0.4% of any total oxide is going to be NdPr, we're finding bodies of it down certain holes of about 1.2, 1.3%. Which is potentially 3 or 4 times as much as the average. So this could be not just a significant general rare earth project, it could also be an absolutely significant NdPr, the king of the rare earths. So you can see I'm quite excited about the whole thing.
Yeah, the king of the rare earths. Okay, 1.2%.
I just coined that. You can use it. Please use it.
I quite like that, though. I quite like that. And you are right with what you say about manufacturers looking to partner directly with mining companies. I see that time and time again, people telling me about that. It's security of the supply chain is going to be huge going forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So did you manage to, how's the drilling campaign going? Last time we spoke, you were mapping out the next drilling campaign. You said it could be starting in April. How's that going?
Yeah, it's all started. A lot of soil sampling was done, maybe like 1,000 locations were soil sampled between January and April. The rig arrived the last week of April. We have a new rig with Caterpillar tracks. The asset is an old volcanic crater, and there's some great carbonatite outcroppings around the rim, which a normal wheeled track, even though it was 6-wheel drive, couldn't actually get up to. So now we've got this new Caterpillar tracked rig. And it's going to be sort of moving it slightly up the banks, shall we call it, to get to these inaccessible but highly potential and spots. So I think if they haven't started today, then they'll certainly be starting this week.
Okay.
Cedric is down at Monte Muambe, Mozambique, with Luis Veloso, the project manager, with Spartan Drilling and the crew with those guys. So it's all go.
Okay. So what are the plans now then for the company? Of course, more drilling, but you have spoken there about the grades there, 1.5% total rare earth oxide, 1.2 for NdPr. And this is what is viable to take to bankable feasibility study, which is, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there, maybe. But what are the plans to advance towards or down that path?
Okay, so we drilled 6 targets last time. A couple were targets that threw up the results 12 years ago with the previous owners. And we found some significant grades of rare earths in 2 new targets. So the first 2 months of drilling is going to be spending 1,200 meters to investigate these new targets, just to confirm what we thought we found last year. And then from June or July onwards, a 6th month or 5 months before the rain starts, to do this resource drilling. I think we're drilling about 7,000 meters in total over however many holes, and that should give us enough samples, cores, and soil to be able to send it off to the lab again. Go through the same 3-month waiting process. We're going to do some metallurgy as well, and we should get a resource estimate published hopefully in Q1 next year, and that will be the first valuation we can assign to this asset. A couple of our non-execs are saying, come on, let's put a value on this, and we just can't. We don't know what tonnage we're going to get. We have an idea of what the grades are going to be, but this will be the clear sort of picture that we can say, okay, Altona's Monte Muambe project is worth X. And then that will help, obviously, with the percentage we own, because we currently own 20% of Monte Muambe. By this time next year, it will have leapt to 51%, if all goes to plan. And then we can establish a valuation which should therefore, for shareholders, help the share price come to parity with that valuation. Okay. Then it's 2 more years, then it's a BFS.
Okay, no, that's good to know. Good to know, Christian. And of course, talking on the share price and shareholders, your favourite subject, the move to the main market. I believe we've made some significant progress.
Oh, yes. So last week, I think it was, we put out the intention to list, which means that the FCA, all the questions and answers that we've been going through for the last 9-10 months, has come to a conclusion. They're sort of happy. We just have to go through, well, I'm not saying just have to, we now have to raise some money. Part of the process to list on the LSE these days is to supply the list of incoming investors. They have to vet them, and then once they've agreed that, then they'll agree the prospectus. So we're on track for the end of this month. So it's interesting for anyone listening if they want to participate. We are obviously doing the placing through our broker Optiva, and we're looking to raise between £2 and £3 million. I'm not sure what the price will be at the moment. The share price is currently about 9p. And we would look to close the placing around the 19th, the 20th of May, to give us 10 days before the end of the month to scoot across. Certainly before the Queen's Jubilee. Okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Christian Taylor-Wilkinson, the Chief Executive of Altona Rare Earths.
Brilliant. Speak to you soon. Bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.